Alright, what is going on, guys? Got another breakdown for UFC Vegas 47. This one's the co-main event at middleweight. We got Punahele Soriano taking on Nick Maximov. Maximov going to have about a 4-inch advantage in reach, 1 inch taller, training out of the Nick Diaz Academy, so I will start with him. This will be his 8th pro fight, perfect record, 7-0, and like I said, protege of the Diaz brothers, has spent a lot of time with Josh Roden, who is a very high-level wrestling coach. And that is the thing with Maximov. He is a very good ground fighter, well-rounded, not just BJJ. He's got that wrestling background too. He's done a ton of competitive grappling on Submission Underground. And the other interesting thing is, fought most of his pro career to this point at light heavyweight and heavyweight, including on the Contender Series. Fought Oscar Cota at heavyweight. Maximov comes in about 40 pounds lighter than Cota, and he was able to control him on the ground, no problem. In the first round, catches a kick, immediately gets into half guard. And what I like about Maximov's game is he fights very well on the ground in a cage fight. He applies it well. Like, if that makes any sense. Like, there's something to be said for that. Sometimes you get these fighters who are very credentialed in wrestling, and they just shoot for these takedowns one after the other, don't really do any ground and pound, don't really try to advance position. Maybe they leave their neck exposed. Maximov does things very well. He's always busy, always with chipping ground and pound. He'll just sit there in half guard and land this chipping ground and pound. It's good ground and pound. He's not overexerting himself and always staying busy. He's never in danger of having the ref stand him up. So there's something to be said for that. Maximov's only 24 years old, and he's showing a very high fight IQ on the ground, and also just a very high level of ability. Again, he's fighting these guys who are way bigger than him, having a lot of success. Cota was able to reverse position in the first round, because if you watch Maximov's fights, he goes to this move a lot where he just drives in very deep on a single leg. Like, he'll just be grabbing onto the ankle, and sometimes it'll look like he's just driving to nowhere, and sometimes he is with some of these bigger guys. Cota was able to just kind of lay on them. They're just kind of in this standoff position, and Cota kind of has the headlock. He's making Maximov carry all of his weight, but he's also not landing any ground and pound. Maximov is just chasing after that ankle, But what he does do when he gets into that position is a lot is he'll kind of like posture up, like tripod up, and then he'll just seamlessly transition onto the back. It's almost like he fakes him out. He gets him thinking like, oh, I've got this takedown stuff. I can start working some ground and pound. And then he's pretty strong. He'll just transition up, grab the hips, and then he's right on your back. And once he does get a body lock or he gets control of the legs, he is very tough to get up from his grappling control. It's very tight. And what I also like about Maximov's game is he's never like overzealous for the submission. Like, if he is in a good position, he's got complete control, and he can just land chipping ground and pound and just bank rounds. He'll do it, and he's done it against guys who are way bigger than him. 40 pounds Cota had on him, they were saying on the broadcast. I have to look at the numbers. I don't have them in front of me, so I might be off just a little bit, but huge size disadvantage, and it seems like middleweight is his natural weight class. And against Cody Brundage and Cota, he's worked in that really crafty, deep single leg, almost out of a sprawl, and then he'll just transition to the back. It's really slick. I've never seen anything quite like it, and it's really interesting. But the flip side of Maximov's game is just totally kind of a question mark with the striking. We just don't have any data. We don't see him in long striking exchanges much. And from what I have seen, it seems like it's deceptive. He was getting tagged just a little bit by Cody Brundage, like he was getting hit. But then he's just good at fighting his fight. He's good at instituting his game plan and making his opponent adjust to it. But at the same time, this will only be his 8th pro fight. It'll be the 10th pro fight for Punahele Soriano. So both guys are a work in progress. There's a lot of question marks, a lot of things that we still need to see. But yeah, I really like what I've seen from Nick Maximov. He's training with the high level people out there with the Diaz brothers, and a lot of potential, also a lot of question marks. And then so for Punahele Soriano, kind of one-dimensional in the other discipline. He does have a wrestling background. He was working the takedowns well against Jamie Pickett, really well. He had a couple nice double legs, nice body slam, was able to maintain control for the whole third round. Granted, Pickett wasn't able to really advance position. Soriano wasn't really landing much offense, but he just banked that round in the Contender Series, won himself a contract, and then gets a first-round knockout of Oscar Piota, and then the same thing against Dusko Todorovic, where he had to work for a little bit more. Todorovic was doing a good job of smothering Soriano's power shots, but he leaves his chin tucked straight up, and Soriano was able to find that left, and that is what Soriano likes to do. He throws absolute bombs, kind of a headhunter, but his left is very powerful, primarily a southpaw, and it seems like his punches are getting straighter, because you watch some of his older fights, he was just very loopy, just going out there, just throwing bombs, and now he's starting to touch it up more. In the Brendan Allen fight, it was his first pro loss, and it was a little weird because he got outstruck in that one, but Allen really invested in the body. He was landing these heavy body kicks, tired him out, and Soriano lost that one, got his first pro loss, but that is the thing with Soriano, man. This guy just throws absolute bombs, and he's got a ton of power, but every time he's gotten extended past the first round, which is only twice, he has looked exhausted at the end of the first. You know, he tires himself out just with throwing so much power into every shot. You know, this guy really never throws jabs. It's hooks and power overhands, you know. And it's good striking. Like, this guy has a bunch of first-round knockouts. In the UFC, he's got 2 first-round knockouts. So it's proven. But at the same time, you know, he's kind of a flamethrower. If he doesn't get it in the first round, he's been tired. And at the same time, also, here's a stat. You can keep people honest, see if they're actually watching tape. Soriano has 100% takedown defense. Credit it with the stats. But I've only seen one takedown attempted against him, and it was Brendan Allen. Just shot a quick double leg, and Soriano just had a quick sprawl, and that was it. That's the only takedown I've seen attempted against Soriano. And he's shown some decent offensive wrestling, but he was also in a little bit of trouble with some of these scrambles with Oscar Piota. Piota just kind of went for a ill-advised Kimura grip and lost the position he had. But he had his back. You know, he didn't really have to work for it. And I worry about Soriano on the ground because it's just like Maximov with the striking and chin and all this stuff. We just haven't seen Soriano in extended wrestling exchanges with a guy like Maximov, you know, a highly credentialed grappler. The one little time he was with Piota, I didn't really like what I was seeing. But at the same time, again, we can't say anything about it. We just don't have any data. And so for this one, Punahele Soriano about a 2-1 favorite. Nick Maximov come back plus 164, and I have gone back and forth on this one. It's a clash of styles. It's a great matchup on paper. I'm really looking forward to this one. I initially thought bout placement was weird as the co-main, but now I kind of like it. You know, I think they want to promote Maximov. I think that's the angle, but I do like Maximov. I am going to take a shot on Maximov, and I will say that I think it's going to be Maximov either by decision or second or third round submission, unless Punahele Soriano is just absolutely lost in there with a high-level BJJ guy, which I haven't seen any indicators that he will be, but at the same time, I go back to that Oscar Piota fight. He almost took his back pretty easily, and we've seen Maximov out-wrestle these guys who are way bigger than him. We know he's going to go to it early, and if he can survive the first round, I just can't see any way he doesn't take over, because if he survives the first round, that means Soriano put it on him, and he survived. He had a good chin, and he let Soriano get tired, or he got the wrestling going early, which means that Soriano is going to get tired, and then Maximov should be able to take over. But again, Soriano, we just don't know what we got on the ground with this guy. You know, he's got a good wrestling background. He's got a little bit of a judo background too, I believe. But from what I've seen with Maximov, I think this guy is next level on the ground, or at least he could be. It could be too early for him. But I always like to go with the grappler when you got a grappler versus striker. Doesn't get any more basic than that for this matchup. It's totally a clash of styles. And I think at plus 164, the value is on Nick Maximov. but I'm not going to get crazy with it. I'm not going to make a big wager. And I think you could really hedge with Punahele Soriano in the first round, first round knockout. I think it's going to be one of those two outcomes because, we haven't seen Maximov in extended striking. We haven't seen him against anybody with Punahele Soriano's power. And Punahele Soriano finds that left, But I just have a feeling that Maximov is going to be able to wear one of Soriano's best shots and then work in one of these weird single leg takedowns that he does when Soriano winds up too much. And I have a feeling that he's going to land his signature move, his fake out, transition to the back. I think he's going to do it because Soriano has more of a wrestling base. So when he sprawls to defend that takedown, he's not going to know what to do. It's going to be slick. I mean, unless they've been watching a lot of tape. But it really just comes down to multiple factors for me. I go with the grappler in a striker versus grappler matchup. I think Maximov's grappling is next level, and I don't like the cardio from Soriano. But again, if Maximov is really just totally green with the striking defense, I think Soriano wins by first round knockout. So I'm going to go with Nick Maximov, but it could go either way. So thanks for watching, guys. Sure, subscribe, and take it easy.